Hey guys, I'm going to be sharing with you my cinnamon sugar fried bake recipe. Now don't knock it till you try it because these are amazing. Now if you like, cinnamon sugar pretzels, cinnamon sugar breadsticks, anything like that, you're going to love this recipe. Not only is it delicious, but it is so easy to make. It's so much easier to make than, Auntie Anne's or anything like that. There's no yeast required, no excess kneading and time for proofing needed. What I have here is some all-purpose flour, some brown sugar, baking powder, and salt. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my hands and incorporate all of the dry ingredients together really well, making sure that the brown sugar, there's no clumps of it and it runs beautifully throughout the flour. Just by pinching all the ingredients together through my flour. And I also have some softened butter here. I just popped it in the microwave a little bit. So it's kind of melted, kind of softened, so it doesn't really matter. I'm going to go ahead and incorporate my butter throughout my flour. Same thing I'm doing, I'm just pressing the butter throughout with my fingers throughout the flour. Just so it's all incorporated throughout. And it's a nice, very fine, crumbly mixture. And then we're going to go ahead and add in some warm water. Now the great thing about this is, like I said, it does not require a whole bunch of kneading and proofing and all that. It's just so easy. I'm using a fork here to start to incorporate my ingredients together, my liquid and my dry. And then I'm going to switch to my hand once most of it gets incorporated. And I'm just going to bring it all together into a dough ball. Just like so, just start incorporating it together. And all I'm doing is literally just taking the flour and tucking it into the dough ball. And once it forms into a beautiful dough ball like that, I'm just going to continue tucking it into itself for about maybe a minute. It does not take long. It does not take, it doesn't need kneading to activate any gluten or anything like that. So we just want to make sure that it's a nice smooth dough ball. So just about a minute, all I'm doing is I'm taking kind of where my knuckles are in my hand, and I'm just tucking in the flour into itself, the dough ball into itself pretty much. Just for about a minute. And then we're just going to cover this and just let it rest, let the flour rest for a little bit, the dough rest for about 10 to 15 minutes, and that is all. You don't have to wait for this to double in size or nothing. Now in my bowl here I have some granulated sugar and some ground cinnamon. I'm just going to mix that really well until all that cinnamon is incorporated throughout the flour. I don't want any chunks of cinnamon anywhere, just so it's beautifully incorporated. And we're going to set that aside. Now after about 10 to 15 minutes of my dough resting, you can see that it's not a very dry dough, but it's not really sticking to my hands or anything. It's a beautifully nice moist dough. Now what you can do is you can squeeze off portions like this, like they normally do when they're making fried bake. And I'm going to be making small mini fried bakes, so I'm going to be using really small pieces out of this. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll it into a log as even as I can, and I'm going to get about 6 out of this. So that means I'm going to cut it and just get about 6 pieces, and each piece is going to give me 4. So we're going to get about 24 little mini fried bakes. Now another really great thing about this is if you're already making fried bake, just take a portion of your dough out and set it aside for this part of it. So you've got dessert and dinner in one. How incredible is that? In one recipe you can have dessert as well as dinner. So I've sprinkled a little bit of flour on my counter as well as on top of my dough, and I've flattened it out onto my surface. I'm also going to get a little bit of the flour dusted on my rolling pin. I'm going to roll this out and then turn it and roll it out again just until it's about 5 to 6 inches in diameter. You want it to be about 1/4 of an inch thick, or you can even go about 1/8 of an inch thick. The thinner they are, the crunchier. They're going to have a really nice crunch to them. So I'm going to be doing some that are thin, and I'm also going to be doing some that are a little bit thicker. So I'm going to be doing some that is 1/4 inch and some that are 1/8 of an inch. The thinner they are, you get a nice little crunch towards the ends, and the thicker they are, they have a nice chewy consistency. They're so much like a donut. It's unbelievable. It's so delicious. And they don't require a whole bunch of ingredients and time, and it's just so easy and it's so good. Into my small little pan here I have some vegetable oil and medium heat. I'm going to take the back of a wooden spoon and place it in the center like so, and once you start seeing bubbles, you know your oil is ready. So I just have a little bit of oil in there, and I'm going to place in about 3 or 4 at a time, depending on how much your pan can hold. And these are just going to start to float up. And once they start to float up to the surface, we're going to just let them cook for about 20 to 30 seconds on each side till they get a nice light golden brown color. And then just, that's it, 30 seconds each side and you're done. Place them on a plate that is lined with napkins or paper towels to absorb the excess oil. So all I'm doing here is just waiting for that 20 to 30 seconds until it gets a nice golden brown color. Flip it and then wait another 20 to 30 seconds so the other side can get a beautifully golden brown color as well. Now this is so easy to do. I actually just recently had something very similar to this in a restaurant not too long ago. It was like a fried dough that was coated in sugar, and it just reminded me so much of this that I had to share this recipe because it's so easy and it's so good. It's just incredible. So I place it on my plate here that is lined with some napkins. And of course, guys, all the amounts are listed below in the description box. So I am just going to continue frying these beautiful little fried bakes up. Now remember, these are mini size, so if you were making bigger sized bakes, that would be a different time for frying. But the dough is exactly the same pretty much, which is great. So I'm going to let these continue up, and then we are going to go finish them up and toss them in our beautiful cinnamon sugar. Make sure and drain off all the excess oil, and then we're going to go ahead and assemble these beautiful things together. Now after we're done and they are still nice and warm, as you can see I did some that are thin and some that are a little bit thicker, so that way I have a little variety of crunchiness and lightness. I'm just going to go ahead and just toss them a few times in my cinnamon sugar to make sure that they are really well coated in that cinnamon sugar. And it gives it a really nice light crunch to it as well. And it is insanely delicious. Everyone is going to love this recipe. Do give it a try. Comment below and let me know if you've tried it, if you enjoyed it. And I absolutely love it because I can have, like I said, dinner and dessert in one recipe, which makes my life so much easier. And I am all about that. As you can see, it's light, it's fluffy, it's airy. Some of them has a nice crunch to it. That cinnamon sugar is so good. Oh my goodness. Give this recipe a try. It is so delicious. I hope that you guys enjoy. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.